This is the video I wish I could have watched. Thank you, Brooklyn. Let's go. Giving you all the best advice. Hitting that 3-hour mark really changes things in your body. People start dropping, falling, face plant. I saw one woman go down and the crowd gasped. Fighting the earth, stop. Quads kill me. I had never felt this type of pain in my life. The next time I will be here, I think I'll be a different person, much more exhausted, but I will hopefully have one major accomplishment under my belt. Yeah, oh yeah. Goosebumps, butterflies, the collie wobbles, as Brits like to say. That was a moment I was feeling it all. Seeing the finish line of the TCS New York City Marathon the day before running this race felt good, actually, because my first attempt at running 26.2 miles was here. I'm Errol Barnett. You may know me from reporting the news, but I'm here with you in a personal capacity to share my first experience tackling a marathon. This is the video I wish I could have watched. I'm giving you all the best advice that propelled me through the big day, and I'll share plenty of woulda, shoulda, couldas that I would do differently next time. I hope this helps you tackle the big race, because you can absolutely do this. Now, as nervous as I was touring the finish line, I was confident because I just wrapped 16 weeks of marathon training. And the number one piece of advice is that you just need to train consistently. Yes, you're conditioning your lungs, your legs to be ready for an epic effort, hours long, but you're also preparing your mind, your spirit. You're going to test your perseverance, and you really want to do that as much as possible as you train, so that come race day, all you need to do is sit back and make sure you have all your bits and bobs. All right, I'm not going to use British expressions throughout the whole video. That was it. That just slipped out. Now, I dropped a fat video on 4 keys to marathon training I posted before this, so be sure to check that out before watching this video, because everything I'm about to lay out was built on that foundation. This video is broken down into 4 chunks: how to prepare for the starting line, running the first half of this epic race, surviving the second half with all the tips that saved me, and how to make the most after you cross the finish line and get back to a somewhat normal life, because I do think anyone who does this is slightly crazy, so you also have to get back to earth eventually. Now, the lead up to race day and the cannons firing, it needs to be as drama-free as possible. Your training distances are shrinking. You want to continue to eat and drink the same fuel that you've been consuming, and avoid any new wild activities, right? You don't want to twist your ankle or have some injury right before the big event. I went to a few New York Roadrunner pre-race events, and that included things like panels with pace runners. Snacks were included. We listened to tips from people like Jenny Simpson. She's a middle and long distance runner, also running this race for the first time. And shout out to Rodrigo Villavicencio. He's 78. He's doing this race for his 20th time, and this time around running with his son and grandson. Absolutely inspirational. And all of this helped relax me. I had a more laid-back approach to the marathon, and it made me realize I really needed to focus on my pace strategy, which I really hadn't thought about too much before then. We'll call that foreshadowing.
Ready? There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Have a great race.
I've just picked up my bib. This will be a fix to my body. It's very much real. Bib pickup is at the expo a few days before the race. You can see what various vendors are offering. This is all at the Javits Center. There's this big wall of runners' names that really hit me, because you have more than 50,000 people participating in this race. It's why it's the biggest in the world. And they had more than 160,000 applicants. These numbers are difficult to comprehend until you see all of the names of the runners laid out. I had to zoom way in to see my little name. It put it really into perspective. And as a former track runner, you all know about my why for this race. So it was a really special moment to meet Gabby Thomas. She's the 3-time gold medalist from the Paris Olympics. She was the Grand Marshal for this race. Very cool, very humble. And I'm sure my late sister Nat was smiling down on me saying, "You've got this." But the most important thing I found at the expo were these racing wristbands. Apparently, marathon runners strap this old school technology around their wrist so they can see where they should be mile by mile. And at the New York Marathon, they time adjusted these strips for the inclines and declines. And they've also got these color codes as well. So blue is for water, red is Gatorade, yellow is for gels along the route, and green for bananas. Notice how they're way at the end. More foreshadowing. All right, here's how I estimated my pace. And a warning, there's plenty of numbers coming up. My Brooklyn half marathon time was 1:37:42. That's a 7:37 pace per mile or 4:38 pace per kilometer, which is why most of my comfortable training runs were at an 8-minute pace or slower, while my race speed while training was 7:30 or faster. In kilometers, that's about 4:40. My marathon estimated time is my half marathon multiplied by 2, adding extra time for fatigue. My Runna training plan added about 15 minutes. Some online calculators added 25. So anywhere between a 3-hour 30-minute run or a 3-hour 50-minute marathon would be good for me. So I grabbed the 2 wristbands that were basically on either side of that. The 320 pace band, which is a 7:38 split in miles or 4:37 in kilometers, and the 350 pace band, which is an 8:40 split in miles and 5:27 for the metric folks. So with my pace plan in hand, I was ready to rock. And 2 quick shout outs. First to Ted Metellus of the New York Road Runners. He came on our show to share his top advice for first time runners.
Head up high, let folks know to track you on the app. Get out there, pace yourself, enjoy every single moment. Soak it in a little bit at a time, each borough, each block, each moment.
Guaranteed. Ted Metellus, thank you so much for being here.
Excellent.
To have a
We'll
good
see
time
you
this weekend.
at the finish line, holding on to that medal, baby.
Tease me, baby. And a shout out to runners Ben Parker. Did a relaxed shakeout run the day before the race with him and a few other people, and his app helped me tremendously. Then you eat the same thing you ate the week before during your dress rehearsal for the marathon. You hydrate and you go to bed early. Now with my wave leaving the finish line after 9 a.m., here I am getting up at 3. It's only about an hour before I'm usually out of bed, which was a plus. I eat, hydrate, shower. I lube everything up. Cycling chamois butter, let's go. Sunblock, hello, definitely need you. You got a product called Crotch Guard in a spray bottle. I was basically using it all. Lubing up your feet with Vaseline also helps protect against moisture and friction-driven problems like blisters, so I was all about that too. And I did lose my toenail during my 16-week training. It took everything in my power not to show it to you, but my toe had to wear this little rubber bodysuit, and I'm happy to report the nail is almost back. Now, here's a breakdown of my marathon kit. You can see my Wallaco running shorts, a waistband I just bought from Amazon. That was to hold my gels and AirPods, which I ended up not using. I like the Goo brand of gels. I've mixed up flavors for variety. I was advised to take one every 4 miles or so with an extra. I use my old Apple Watch Series 4. You're going to hear me come back to that later. My cycling glasses, my Nike running hat, my bib. We've got my Saucony running shoes. They are the Endorphin Pro 4. Full carbon plate is all the rage. My Bombas socks, Garmin heart monitor, and my pacing wristbands. And pay close attention if you can see the letters next to mile 19. IBP stands for ibuprofen, because I was advised to pop a pill when you're about to hit the wall. The painkillers should brunt how severe it feels. But we'll see if that works. Now to the bus. My nerves were really building at this point. You see all the other runners and there's this palpable sense of anxiety, partly because the bus ride was so quiet. This is the VIP media bus. Remember, I got to do this as part of a media invite. The early morning vibe though was beautiful. As we leave Manhattan, you see daybreak glowing over Greenpoint, knowing we're about to run there. I started to get really excited, but doing so silently. It made me realize how personal and individual running really is, because I'm sharing this experience with 50,000 other people and 2 million New Yorkers along the route, but we're each doing it on our own because of our own sense of drive, our own motivation, and it really is about personal growth and mental strength. The convoy arrived to the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. It only ever closes for this race, so I'm getting giddy at this point. And just as I entered my zen zone, the bus got lost. So a nice little bit of last-minute chaos before arriving at the starting line. This is the village where people stand by. People are placed into corrals and waves based on speed and previous races. It's usually cold in early November in New York, especially in the morning, so only bring clothes that you would donate because you can't carry things with you or leave anything behind. I was wearing a Mylar sheet from running a half marathon. That worked perfectly, and then after, you just toss it away.
I've had a bagel, I've had a little bit of Gatorade. I'm trying not to drink too much because I don't know, I'm nervous. I'm nervous in all sorts of ways. I'm nervous about needing the restroom too much on the route. I'm nervous about going out too fast and dying halfway through. I'm nervous about bumping into people. I'm nervous about twisting something right now before I even get there. Anyway, the idea is have a snack, have something light to eat, use the restroom, get amped up. My wave is already gathering at the starting line. So this is it. Let's go.
In my corral, Orange Wave 1, I was placed next to the 3-hour, 20-minute pace runner. This was perfect. The plan was just to hang back and be with them for as long as possible. Both times I ran half marathons, I went out too fast, and I paid for it toward the end. So it was really important for me to try and go slow this time and steady. And I've got my handy wristband. I decided to only wear the 3:20 goal, being ambitious, and now we walk to the starting line. So you shake it all out, you get in a good mood, you say hey to the people around you, and this is how you run the first half of a marathon.
Activate.
All right. Thank you, Staten Island, for a solid start. Let's go.
Now, thanks to recording that video, I completely lost the 3:20 pacer around me. I ran faster, I ran slower, I looked to my left and my right. It was so crowded and such a crush of people that I couldn't find him. And it's easy to be distracted. The bridge was beautiful.
Thank you, Brooklyn, for that home borough walk. 10K down.
Now, just as I was getting into the flow and enjoying Brooklyn, my watch dies. That means no stats, no Strava numbers. I was tracking it all from my watch, not from my phone. And so that rendered this pace band almost useless because it's elapsed time. Couldn't just look at my phone and get the actual time because then that would require me doing math while running. The silver lining is that it made me relax even more and just enjoy the race. And a shout out to Supergirl. She was running ahead of me. Kids were cheering her on the most. And honestly, I didn't care about the watch dying because that made me more present for stuff like this. So enjoy yourself, and any camera you see, just put your arms out big, smile. Remember, this is for fun. Now, I really felt the next phase. This is how you survive the second half of a marathon.
Queens! Thanks for the halfway encouragement.
So exhaustion already settling in. I had not yet crossed the Pulaski Bridge, which is the halfway point, so that was actually still in Brooklyn. Now, I didn't realize this at the time, but I was actually running faster than my 3:20 pace band. Now that I've gone back and looked at the numbers, I also had just completed my fastest half marathon ever, but it didn't sink into me how quickly I was moving until I saw this guy. One of the pace runners crossing the Pulaski Bridge. It's not my boy 3:20. It was his faster buddy, Mr. 3:15. Got excited and I thought if I can just hang with him, I might actually blow my 3:20 time out of the water. I've got to keep up with him. I couldn't help myself, but consequences were coming. The Queensboro Bridge, or as I like to call it, the Death Bridge. I was warned about this. It's the steepest climb of the back half. Cheering crowds disappear. The sun vanishes. The crosswinds over the East River pick up. All you hear are people's feet pounding, the pavement panting. This is where some people start to throw up. It gets intense. Some folks decide to walk. I was sweating like crazy by now. I started paying for that earlier sprint when I saw Mr. 3:15 just pull further and further away. Now, downhill into Manhattan, what I call round one, is actually fun, but don't move too quickly thinking things are easy, because what you might make up for in time, you pay for in quadriceps damage. So save your quads, go easy downhill. My people were waiting for me at mile 18, and I was told this is the best spot for support because this is when you really start to tire and you've still got 6 miles to go. They meanwhile have enough time to navigate back to the finish line. My wife handed me a banana, we had a kiss, and I was back on track. Then who should I see? My man, Mr. 320. And by that point, I could feel why I had a losing strategy. At the beginning, I panicked and I thought I lost him and needed to speed up. The opposite was true. I should have just hung back. And now, as he's next to me, gradually pulling away, I realize how much extra energy I spent in getting a better half marathon time and getting better splits than I should have. So mile 19 is where I pop the ibuprofen and things are just falling apart. My focus is getting much more loose. I chew the ibuprofen, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to just swallow it. So then I have this like really chalky medical taste in my mouth for the next couple miles.
In the Bronx, hitting the wall, dying. Thank you. Mile 20.
By the Bronx, and you see it right there, we've got no more full sentences. My legs are getting heavy. I feel like at this point, everyone is passing me. And what came next was brutal. I had never felt this type of pain in my life.
Manhattan for the second time to bring it home. Let's go. I am dead, but I'm gonna keep moving.
Do you see how shallow my breathing is by now? And I'm not even really running. I'm just basically kicking my feet in front of me and really trying to mentally stay engaged. I was thinking back to my why I'm doing this race, honoring my heritage, doing what I can to stay fit. And I just had to keep pushing myself to move. I thought back to during training when I would stop to walk during my long runs and then realizing it actually costs more energy to stop and start again. All of that firing away. Hitting that 3-hour mark really changes things in your body. I was already hitting every water station. I had consumed most of my gels by now. Wife handed me a banana. I picked up other bananas along the way, and yet still I felt completely spent with miles to go. And as we come down 5th Avenue, approaching Central Park, everyone around me is tired too. People start dropping, falling, face plants, left and right. I saw one woman go down and the crowd gasp, and all I could think, I'm so ashamed to admit it, all I could think was, lady, I can't help you, because if I go down, we're all going down, and I don't even know if I'm finishing this race yet. Please don't let anybody else fall around me.
Central Park. Fighting the urge to stop. Quads killing me. The cheering makes a big difference. Less than 2 to go. Just go, go, go.
More evidence that you've got to put your name on your shirts, people. Hearing those strangers scream my name right there in Central Park when I felt like dying really helped me continue.
Don't die, last mile, let's go.
The last mile was by far the most difficult. My stats show me that it was my worst split of all. It took me about 10 minutes, but I kept moving. I wobbled my way back to the finish line, now crossing it with my arms in the air. My first 26.2 mile race finally over.
Wow. Come on, breathe, come on, talk. Wow. Legs are jelly. Ah. But I did not stop. Wow.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm exhausted just rewatching that.
Woo! Sorry. Cannot. Thank you.
Good job, buddy. Congratulations.
Cannot walk straight. Cannot think, cannot speak. I finished. So let me keep moving. Ah! It's so good! And no matter how tired you are, keep hydrating, keep fueling yourself. They're gonna hand you your shiny medal. Take as many pictures of this with people, friends and family as you can. I remember there was a guy with a tutu and fairy wings. He passed me towards the end when I was really frustrated. It made me smile, it made me laugh. I snapped a picture with him. And looking back at my race time prediction, I finished in 3 hours, 33 minutes and 25 seconds. It's basically spot on and on the lower end. But I did go out too strong. You can see on this graph that going out quickly left me with almost nothing towards the end. You see me hitting the wall there. So I should have forced myself to slow down more at the beginning so I didn't get left with a 10-minute mile at the end. I should have focused on pacing during training more. Of course, as always, there's more for me to learn. And a big shout out to my colleagues, Andy, Chris, Christina. They all ran the marathon. Did a fantastic job, especially Alyssa. She pushed a friend of hers the entire distance. There were so many inspirational stories, and I think it's just a wonderful reminder that you might be surprised of what you might accomplish.
I see this thing rocks. Had a dreadful year. That's the reason why I cut off my locks. Quick tested me just like mobs. The days where I trapped
And these shiny medals have more than just sentimental value on race day. We were able to get a free burger from Shake Shack. There are a lot of vendors that will offer discounts and deals. There's free and discounted museum tickets, Broadway tickets, all sorts of things. I had no energy for that following the race that week, but you should take advantage. Bask, baby, because it's a bonus just for you. It's like Night of the Orange Zombies as everybody wobbles out.
Exit the race. Please keep moving and exit the race.
Now, I left the course absolutely knackered, but so appreciative to every single New Yorker who showed up in that weather. They cheered, shouted. Maybe you had a funny sign like therapy is also an option. All of those things help make this fun. Don't forget, you get to pamper yourself now. Massages should be on your calendar. Bathe with Epsom salts. Keep hydrating with electrolytes and other foods because your blood pressure after training and the marathon will come down. So make sure you have a delicate week or two to repair. Don't get back to running too quickly. I can share with you that I haven't been scarred completely. I am deciding to run a half marathon in 2025. Look, obviously, like every other marathon runner, I could talk nonstop about this. So if there's something I missed or a topic you're more interested in, post those comments below or send me a DM, especially if you want to see the picture of my toe without a nail. It's really nasty and I've documented the entire thing. All right, I'm going to stop running my gob. This was really fun to share with you all. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll really enjoy what I've got for you coming up next.